Hey guys, and welcome back to PXH. Chris here, obviously back with another album review. And guys, before we get started, make sure you guys hit down that like button onto this video and also comment down below for what you guys thought about this album. And also maybe this review. I don't really know. I don't know what you guys on your mind, so put it down in those comments so I can actually know if we're doing a good job here at PXH. Which, knowing some of these comments, yes, we've been doing a pretty good job at PXH, but I also know what you think about this album, okay? It's pretty important. I like to know what you guys thought, whether you also agree or disagree. I don't really know. But, I mean, a little... enough about talking about the comments type of section. Also, if you guys are new here or a returning visitor, and you like what we do here at PXH, whether it be on the YouTube, whether it be on the podcast, because yes, we got a podcast, more on that just a little bit later, or whether it be on the Instagram socials at a PXH Culture, wherever that's located right here. You guys go check us there, whether you guys like that. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and also hit that notify bell so you guys can be notified for new videos, because I don't know whenever a new video is gonna pop up. Who knows? So there's that. If anything else, let's get into it. Blue Flower is the latest release from the husband-wife duo, otherwise known as Grey Havens. Now, Grey Havens is basically a band that I've actually been wanting to talk about and review for quite a while, so I'm very glad that they actually finally released this album, just because they have the epitome of what I love about Christian indie type of music, or just this vibe, okay? They know of just, it's just like, hey, if there's ever a band that is kind of suited for the way that Christian mind goes, then kind of the Grey Havens is in that echelon of kind of groups, because they're a band that just makes my mind just think, okay, and dig a little bit deeper into some of the stuff. This album is not so different because it does that. But a little bit more backstory onto Grey Havens. So for where they actually get their name, they're also a little bit nerdy in this aspect, as a reference to a seaport in J.R.R. Tolkien's book or series, Lord of the Rings. They've also started out in 2013. Their projects have basically been an imaginative treatment of faith, having a visionary quality that's both playful and enraptured. These albums that they've released, one of my favorite being Fire and Stone, their debut album. I love it so much just because just the way that they're able to enrapture scripture in some aspects, in some songs, and deeper thinking, and what they actually think, and just their own little references that they actually really like. There's a lot of C.S. Lewis stuff, and I love C.S. Lewis. This album is really particular in that C.S. Lewis basically being that Blue Flower kind of has a reference to C.S. Lewis from his autobiographical book, Surprised by Joy. Blue Flower comes from a German romantic literature, and it symbolizes this longing for something unknown, which, you know, just talking about this title track, that's actually one of my favorite songs, just because whenever you listen to it, you just get immediately transformed to this world that they just started building, and this narrative that they're kind of strewing with this entire thing. The Blue Flower, whenever you hear it in one of these songs, because it's mentioned in quite a few of these songs, basically has a deeper meaning rather than something just basic. It's just there. No, there's something more to it, and I love this something for longing, something for more. And so whenever you listen to the song Blue Flower, you're just like, so what are they longing for? And this is also why, you know, digging into deep about artists and their imaginative stories, I absolutely love, just because there's from C.S. Lewis, Surprised by Joy, he talks about the blue flower. Like he talks about this blue flower being this longing for something more. For his Surprised by Joy, a large part concerned with the intense longing for life. And with this intense longing, Lewis also experienced throughout his life the longing for the elusive joy of the title surprised by joy, which he eventually realized could not be found on earth. And he actually explains later on within the book that if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made from another world. The best way that C.S. Lewis could describe it. And in fact, for Christians, this blue flower is the symbol of hope, because although our longing cannot be satisfied right now, we know that one day it will. Christ has graciously provided a way for us to enter his home, the garden where the blue flowers stretch the distance as far as the eyes can see. And I love that the Grey Havens just go about within this blue flower as this narrative of, something more. And also, there's also another story happening within this album of a summer versus winter, of how summer just brings life and new beginnings, but then winter just brings this harsh and like a lot of dead things just around life and just a lot of other stuff on top, being snow in that aspect. It's just really interesting that the way that this narrative is just going between summer and winter, because one is to one extreme, the other one is to the other extreme. With this album, it also has a little bit more of a electronical feel and a lot of more stuff that is happening within the background that I really enjoy, just because their stuff brings a calming to me that I really like. There's a lot of stuff happening within some of these stuff, but it's still a very calming in nature with a lot of these songs. I really like that. But there's also a very eerie sense within this, because it's like this album is just going through a narrative and a story, and just I could almost imagine that this being like a film in some aspects, or just in one song, Tread the Dawn, which is basically about C.S. Lewis' book, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, kind of has a weird musical sense within the music. I was just like, this sounds like it could be part of a musical, and it's really interesting, but it also really works with this album. And there's just a lot of things that are just happening with this album that I really enjoy. One of my favorite songs off this album is The Pale Moonlight, which is very eerie and just has a sense of like a darkness just around it, of just about the pale moonlight, still kind of searching for, again, that blue flower, whether they lost it beforehand and now they're going back and searching for it within this boat. There's a lot of boat metaphors within the Grey Havens with a lot of their songs, more apparent into this album than some of their other albums, but this album is apparent with a lot of boat themes, a lot of summer versus winter, and a lot of this blue flower, and of how they're just longing because they're trying to head onwards, but sometimes they really can't. They either get lost, or they say go this way, but they meant they should have gone the other way. And that's the way that this album just kind of trays stuff. Going back to The Pale Moonlight, where they're trying to have this searching, and other people are saying, oh yeah, go this way, do this and do that. Probably should have just sailed like east and just gone this way. And that maybe is just like, well, you're having doubts within a lot of stuff and you don't really know which way to go. That's the way that some of this album just kind of feels, where I think that within some of their aspects, a lot of people may strew this album as like, well, there's a lot of things happening and maybe they don't know which way to go. But that's basically kind of the theme of this, and not knowing to go and just trying to search for this mysterious blue flower, whatever it may be, whatever they may be searching for as a person, as an individual. And I love of how the blue flower is just like, no, searching for this and this only. It's searching for a lot of, it can basically mean that beginning song can basically mean anything for anyone. However, if you look at it from a deeper level, it means a little bit something deeper, as this story continues on. There's a lot of things that is happening, and then at the end with the last two songs where they finally have a sense of some closure, and sometimes it may not even be the closure that they're actually looking for, because with a lot of this narrative, it's summer versus winter, but the last song is summer meets winter, and there's a garden that's growing, which basically summer meets winter is basically the epitome of spring. So there's that. It might have a deeper meaning behind there, but it's also really cool because not only is it C.S. Lewis' life having a deeper meaning with Grey Havens, especially their singer Dave, but also Dave's relationship with his longtime producer, Ben, who they've grown closer with this album, and been able to produce on a lot of this stuff, because it's usually just Ben Shive that does a lot of this stuff, but this album was able to have both people behind it, and I think it's like really one of the better Grey Havens album that is out there, and one of the better albums that is actually out there this year. It's a really, really good one. It might flow under a lot of people's radars, but it's really, really good, and this is definitely an album that you guys should listen to. So that's why this gets the praise hands. This album, for me, was one of those albums that I really enjoyed listening to. It isn't until research that I was able to find these deeper meanings, and I was able to appreciate this album more, because if you just look on the surface level, you're just like, it's good, it's fine. But if you look at more deeply, you're just like, there's something interesting and really deep about this album that I really enjoy, and all these different sounds within this album has a deeper meaning behind it, which I necessarily enjoy, and I can find enjoyment within that. Nothing else, if you guys would leave a like onto this video, and also comment down below what you guys thought about this album, and also what you guys want me to review, whether it be in the past, future, present. You guys put it down in the comments and I will get to it. Also, check out the podcast. Obviously, it's really fun. I enjoy it. A lot of other people enjoy it. So there really is that. If you're new here or a return visitor, then obviously hit that subscribe button. It really helps out this channel and helps PureXH grow to the level that it wants to grow. So there's that. I know I say so there's that there, but it's a nice little exclamation point, a nice little dot of acceptance. But if you want to be notified for a new video that releases here on PureXH, then hit that notify bell. It's really easy. You just hit it, and then it gives you options, and then you be okay with it. Because then you guys can be notified when a new PureXH video releases. Nothing else. Go on with Jesus and change the culture. Boom. Bye.